I think this issue is so big and just being ignored by the mainstream media. I really can't let it go by. I mean, this. I really think this is a very important event or potential event. This could have global consequences. Believe it or not, this could affect us here in the United States. The flapping of the butterfly wings. But first things first. Hello to everybody in the chat. Dr. Vray, Tomo-kun, Mr. Papa Giorgio. How you doing there, Chriselle? Hangman John Ruth. Radagast. Are you a fan of Tolkien there? Ham Sunshine. I'm sure President Trump's been briefed on the situation. Can't conceive that he wouldn't have been. Caveman. Remember you from yesterday? Strifecta. Yeah. So, a lot going on. Primarily, a little background. The dam in China that we're talking about, and that's what we're talking about here. If you don't know what the hell we're talking about when you say the Three Gorges Dampocalypse, I think it was 14 years ago, 2006. Japan finished constructing a dam called the Three Gorges Dam. It took about 12 years to build it. And, rather than me speculating, actually, let's take advantage. We'll just look at the Wikipedia entry to see the sourcing of the dam. Because I remember at the time, it was actually pretty controversial. So let's see here. History. The Three Gorges Dam is a hydroelectric gravity dam that spans the Yangtze River by the town of Sandoping in Ying District, Yichang, Hubei province of China. Now, this is what's going to interest you. This is in Hubei province. I'm sure you remember how just a few months ago the entire world was focused on Hubei, specifically on the city of Wuhan. And if you could believe it or not, that's going to tie into this situation again, because it is the city of Wuhan that is one of the most directly threatened cities by this potential man-made disaster. Well, combined man-made and natural disaster. The Three Gorges Dam, if you're not aware, it's been the largest power station in the world in terms of, according to this, it produces 22,500 megawatts of electricity since 2012. And in 2018, it says here that the dam generated 101.6 terawatt hours of power, breaking its previous record, but still lower than the Italpu Dam, which set the record in 2016. So, as I mentioned, the dam was completed in 2006. The power plant was completed and fully functional by 2012, when they put in the last of the main water turbines. Let's see, the main water turbine has a capacity of 700 megawatts. The dam has 32 main turbines and two smaller 50 megawatt generators. Just the power itself, it uses those two smaller ones. So that's huge. So this dam, let's look at the environmental impact here. Let's see. Two hazards are uniquely identified with the dam. One is that the sedimentation projections are not agreed upon. So, they just put this dam up. They didn't know what the impact was going to be on the floodplain. So what it actually did is they submerged a bunch of land on one side, and then they reduced the floodplain on the other. And this is turning out to have been a disaster, because while it's controlled the yearly floods, the regular flooding, what it's done is leave them vulnerable to massive flooding. And that's what the impact on the sedimentation and the erosion that has been. So that because the flow is slower above the dam, much of the sediment now settles there instead of flowing downstream, and there's less sediment downstream, obviously. And the absence of the silt downstream has the hydrologists expecting downstream riverbanks to become more vulnerable to flooding. Now, Shanghai, believe it which is at the end of this nightmare, more than 1,600. That's almost 1,000 miles away. Rests on a massive sedimentary plain. The arriving silt, so long as it does arrive, strengthens the bed on which Shanghai is built. The less the tonnage of arriving sediment, the more vulnerable the biggest Chinese cities is to an inundation. And then you have landslides associated with this. But just take a look at this. This is the flow coming out of the dam. As you could imagine, with the dam being threatened, they've opened up all the floodgates. All the sluices are open. They're at maximum capacity for getting rid of this water, and it's still not enough. They're in the middle of monsoon season. They've got 2 months to go. This stuff is look at it this way. Put it this way: the dam hasn't even failed yet. It hasn't even failed yet. This is just from them opening the floodgates. Look at the effects downstream of what opening the floodgates to max has done. Imagine if this thing failed. This was a few days ago. Look at the background of this major city that is just basically knee deep or waist deep in water. Just from opening the floodgates. This was a few days ago. And it's getting progressively worse and worse. To give you an idea of the scale of the flooding, you see this picture here? Look what this building in the middle of the river normally looks like. Here are down there you can see these men walking when this flooding started. That's the foundation of the building. Look where these windows are. Look where the river is down here. Look, and you could tell the scale of this by the men walking next to this building. Those windows that you were seeing in that previous picture, which would be these windows right here of this temple, look how high they are off the water when it was just a little flooded. Now, this is the temple now. The roof, it's almost at roof level. Look how far down those guys were. If the water is over here now, about almost where the roof is, look how high over the men's heads that is. This is massive. So we have the very area that was the epicenter of the Wuhan coronavirus pandemic when it broke out in China is now just a few months later being threatened with being basically washed away and submerged by a massive biblical scale flood. Now, I'm going to do something that I normally wouldn't do. And I'm going to introduce a little historical context here. There's something in China, a concept called the mandate of heaven. This is, a lot of you may not have heard of this, but let me read this summary to you. The mandate of heaven, in Chinese, or literally translated, literally heaven's will, is a Chinese political and religious teaching that was used in ancient and imperial China to justify the rule of the king or emperor of China. According to this belief, heaven, or Tian, which embodies the natural order and the will of the universe, bestows the mandate on a just ruler of China, the son of heaven, or the celestial emperor, celestial empire. If a ruler was overthrown, this was interpreted as an indication that the ruler was unworthy and had lost the mandate. It was also a common belief that, quote, natural disasters such as famine and flood were divine retribution, bearing signs of heaven's displeasure with the ruler, so there would often be revolts following major disasters as the people saw these calamities as signs that the mandate of heaven had been withdrawn. So a lot of people, they've gone to transfer this mandate of heaven concept to, say, the leaders of the Chinese Communist Party and President Xi, or at least so the theory goes. Will Chinese people see the plague, the Wuhan coronavirus plague, and the potential failure of the Three Gorges Dam. Will they see this as the revocation of the mandate of heaven, if you will? I don't know if they actually still follow this. This is clearly a historical thing, but I just thought it would be interesting to bring up, since it does seem to fall under the lines of that category. I mean, China's not a monarchy anymore. I'm pretty sure that the Communist Party wouldn't openly endorse this kind of thinking, but hey, I mean, I just thought it'd be worth bringing up. So let's take a look at some of this. I've just showed you the that temple that's in the Yangtze River. Just how think about it. This was bad enough. This was when it was flooding, and these guys were walking past when it was flooded. And now you have this situation where the water is up to the roof and threatening to completely submerge the temple. So here's a diagram showing the dams, the dam system of the Three Gorges. Now, believe it or not, the Three Gorges Dam is basically just the second to last dam in this series of dams that stretch up the elevation. You have a bunch of dams that are actually above the Three Gorges Dam. Now, if one of these were to fail, one of these other dams up at higher elevation, all this water up here would come crashing down into the Three Gorges Dam, and that would be all she wrote. Because the only thing after the Three Gorges Dam is this little, what is this, Hubei Dam, this little, pathetic little thing that would have no chance of holding back all this water. So we have a Chernobyl in the making here, where you have at the top of here, these massive dams at top that would have been big enough on their own. But the Three Gorges Dam is one of the lowest lying dams, and it just holds back most of this water. And it's at the lowest elevation. So think about it. You have all these other potential dams failures that are above the Three Gorges Dam and could pour their water into the already almost entirely flooded Three Gorges Dam, and that would be it. Super chat from Froggy. Nightmare gained, mandate of heaven lost. I mean, if that's something you go by, you could certainly say that would be the case. But look at what's going on. I mean, some of this video, I don't understand how this isn't getting covered more. You started to see some coverage today. Some of the mainstream media. I saw something on a CNN, one of their online outlets. Here's Wuhan already. So this is Wuhan, the city that we've all watched for the pandemic. Wuhan has already got flooding.
Has raised its flood alert level as heavy rains continue in China. Now, there are still floods in 26 provinces and cities in China, and they're looking now at more than 30 days of ongoing rain, somewhere around 35 days in some parts. And this is becoming a very serious issue in many areas of China. They're facing many natural disasters, not just these floods, but also earthquakes, locusts, hail, tornadoes. I mean, you name it, they're facing it right now. The situation in China is very rough. The floods seem to be causing more damage than anything currently. But when you combine it with the other natural disasters, you're looking at about double the amount of damage from just the floods. Wuhan.
So Wuhan's in trouble. Let's see what we got here.
Rain and waterfall spotted inside China's tallest building. Video surfaced online showing water pouring down from leaking ceilings, soaking floors and offices. A new whistleblower steps forward at great personal risk. She says the Chinese water released its Three Gorges over a week before telling the world. It's been over a week since China's Three Gorges Dam started to release floodwater. An expert says the water speed is 25 times more powerful and potentially damaging than a natural flood. Chinese authorities took action to...
Okay, so understand the level of the threat. The people that are in that floodplain downstream at the Yangtze River represent 400 million people. That's a population larger than if you combine the total population of the United States and Canada together. Even if you wanted to evacuate, how would you evacuate, say, the entire population of the United States and Canada, and where would you put them? This is basically central China, all the way to the coast. I mean, I couldn't just. Where would they put all these people? Even if you could move 400 million people, it's insane. On top of that, guess what? There are 60 nuclear power plants that would be destroyed in a worst case scenario downstream if this thing were to go. Did you hear me? 60 nuclear power plants are in the flood zone. You know, for the worst case scenario flood. Could you imagine 60 nuclear power plants, being knocked out simultaneously? Remember what a nightmare it was when we just had that one in Japan, the Fukushima Daiichi reactors? 60 nuclear power plants, 400 million people in the crosshairs. This is something like you would see out of a James Bond movie, where like Spectre would be threatening, to do something, some kind of mass destruction if the world didn't pay them trillions of dollars. Let's see what else is. Here's a guy that he's at the top of the Three Gorges Dam. I don't think you'll be able to understand him unless you speak Mandarin, but for what it's worth, here's the view from the top of the dam.
Hello， 大家好，我是新罗人山药公主。今天我们是在黄河小浪底的泄洪排沙的现场。泄洪排沙是从6月25号开始到7月10号，现在是正在泄洪。泄完洪以后，再有3天左右时间是排沙。大家现在看到的是河南小浪底水库的泄洪排沙的场景。今天是开了5个出水口啊，这是从96年到现在的最大的一次泄洪排沙的这个出水量，每秒钟达到5500立方米，相当出水量是5500吨。从96年到现在的话是最大的一次啊，大家可以看一下这种壮观的场景。我现在将要从不同的角度给大家展现我们小浪底泄洪排沙这种震撼的场景给大家。现在来给大家走到我们这个排水口的最上端，给大家看一下这个情景。这个情景这边的话人是特别的多。今天是开了有5个出水口，再过3天左右会进行排沙。现在是正在泄洪，泄洪到一定的水位以后开始排沙。排沙的时候才会有很多的鱼到时候会有上百万条的鱼。现在我们来到下面这个场景，这边都是在冲这个淋雨的人很多。看一下这个黄河这个水冲上去以后，风刮过来，这边很多人在这边冲淋雨，大家可以看一下，特别的壮观。这边，哇塞，都是来这边玩的人都特别的嗨啊！现在看一下我们这边啊，这边的话是在最下面这个场景，看一下我们小浪底水库最下面这个出水口这个位置啊。我现在可以近距离给大家去看一下，哎呀，现在这个特别的壮观。万马奔腾的感觉。现在我站在咱们小浪底水库的出水口这个位置啊，大家看。
Okay, that's not disturbing at all. Super chat from Froggy. 4th impact is coming. Get in the robot, Shinji. Yeah. Holy smokes! This is the dam, just with all the floodgates open. Can you imagine if this thing failed? The freaking wave of water that would come out of that thing. All right, so CNN, they seem to have finally noticed the situation in China. China has just contained the coronavirus. Now it's battling some of the worst floods in decades. Weeks of torrential rains have caused the worst flooding in China in recent decades, destroying the homes and livelihoods of millions of people as the country struggles to revive an economy battered by the coronavirus pandemic. Since June, devastating floods have impacted 38 million people, more than the entire population of Canada. Some 2.24 million residents have been displaced, with 141 people dead or missing, the Ministry of Emergency Management said Monday. So they've already got 38 million people impacted. The damn thing hasn't broken yet. 2.24 million people have already been moved and are probably homeless at this book. Can you imagine suddenly 2 million people in your country are made homeless? Super Chat Frog, you can't have new COVID cases if you drown everyone. Well, we'll get to that. There's people with theories on this. With the city of Wuhan being impacted directly already. On Sunday, Chinese authorities raised the country's flood alert to the second highest level in a 4-tier emergency response system. So they can only raise it one more level. They raise it one more level, essentially means the dam broke. Or is about to break. Chinese President Xi Jinping described the flood control situation as, quote, very grim. So Pooh Bear is he's not putting a pretty face on it anymore. He's saying it's very grim. And I'm going to show you how the language has changed in China with regard to this. All right, so we don't have to read this whole thing. We're talking a lot about the Chinese economy, how it contracted. It shrank 6.8% in the first quarter, mainly because of the Wuhan coronavirus. The country threw about $500 billion into the economy this year in tax cuts, infrastructure projects. It's not even making a dent. Now, keep in mind, the summer flooding, this is a yearly event in China, but due to the extremely heavy seasonal rain, this deluge is said to be particularly bad. And 27 out of the 31 provincial regions in mainland China, it says here in some places water levels have reached heights not seen since 1998, when massive floods killed more than 3,000 people. You have a total of 443 rivers nationwide that have been flooded, with 33 of them swelling to the highest level ever recorded. So you have 33 rivers in China that are at record flood levels. Keep in mind that these records in China, remember, China is basically the oldest country on earth with the oldest records. Trust me, if you're saying that these are the highest levels ever recorded in China, you're probably talking going back thousands of years. I think recorded history in China it goes back at least 2,000 or 3,000 years, if not longer. The majority of these rivers are in the vast basin of the Yangtze River, which flows from west through east. If you know China, the Yangtze River is the main river going through central China. Compared with before, this year's rainfall was more intense and repeatedly poured down on the same region, which brought significant pressure on flood control. Chen Tao, the chief weather forecaster at the National Meteorological Center, was quoted as saying by Xinhua, that's the official Chinese news agency, sweeping floodwaters left a trail of devastation, ravaging 8.72 million acres of farmland, destroying 28,000 homes, and in some cases submerging entire towns. Keep in mind, I'm just describing to you the effects of regular flooding without the breaking of the dam. So according to state news agency Xinhua, by Sunday, the floods had already cost about $12 billion of economic losses already nationwide. This is unreal. They're talking about Hubei province. This is Hubei province in Wuhan. Look at this guy swimming. He's in Hubei province. He's on a paddleboard. This guy's shoulder deep in water. This is nuts. There's some more video from China. Look at this. So these houses are starting to get flooded out. Let's look at this video. The discharge of Three Gorges Dam worsens the flood. On July 8th around midnight, while villagers slept, Huanggang was hit with a torrential rainfall that leads to a waist-deep flood where even houses were washed away.
Northern China continues to expand, and with the Three Gorges Dam fully releasing its water. Water levels on the Yangtze River, from the mouth of the Dongting Lake at Yingli in Hubei to its outlet at Shanghai, are above the warning level. Floods have led to frequent mudslides and other disasters. At midnight on July 8th, landslides occurred in Huanggang, Hubei province.
That is a landslide. That is all the mud coming down the hill and basically going over this, whatever this building is.
And Tongren, Guizhou province, causing heavy losses. At midnight on July 8th, Huanggang of Hubei province was hit by over 200 millimeters of heavy torrential rainfall, Dahe Township receiving the heaviest rainfall of 353 millimeters. It caused waist-deep flooding and houses were washed away. The headquarters of the Flood and Drought Control in Huangmei County, Huanggang, reported that a landslide occurred in Yuanshan Village, Dahe Township, Huangmei County, around 4 a.m. due to heavy torrential rainfall, causing 9 residents from 5 households to be buried. Ms. Li from Yuanshan Village said that everyone was sound asleep when the landslide happened at midnight. Some of the houses crumbled and some people were buried. It was until 8 or 9 in the morning when firefighters came to the rescue.
Our town is covered in water and we couldn't get help all at once. The water is as high as our waist. The rescue came really late. It's very sad and unfortunate that a household of 4 people living behind me were all buried. The mother, a brother, a wife, and daughter were all gone.
Not only in Huangmei County, landslides also occurred in Shiban Village, Ganlong Township, Guizhou Province, around 4 a.m. on July 8th, affecting at least 133 households and 507 residents. Many people were missing. Local residents said that the landslide lasted for 800 to 900 meters. The entire Shaban village was submerged in the mudslides. Many people were already dead when they were found in the mud, while others were swept away by heavy water. Around 6 a.m. on July 6th, Jifeng Sand Farm, Yuanying Village, Sichuan Province, also suffered from mudslides due to consecutive heavy torrential rainfalls. The local authorities claimed that initial verification showed 4 people were missing. Mr. Ren, a citizen of Chengdu, said the floods and mudslides.
Yeah, I would love to have seen the full report on that. That's just a clip. I mean, look at this poor guy. I don't know what he's doing there. That does not look like a smart place to stand. There are people over there, in case you didn't catch that part. Okay. What else do we have here? Looks like this bridge gives way, if I remember this clip. There it goes.
这次的水涨的是真大呀，都快到桥上了。通往对面的城，3条桥全部封掉了，3座桥都封了，过也过不去呀，回家回不了了。别应该刚好啊！
And it just keeps raining every day in China. I think I saw something where it's rained for like 30 days straight in the same places. I mean, look how bad this place is. This is a mudfall in the middle of a flood. notice here, there's a person there. What's this guy gonna do? He's got nowhere to go. If he steps out into this, he's a dead man. All he can do is hide behind this concrete kind of pillar and hope it doesn't give way. See, the guy is still there. That's a car that just got washed into that wall there. I don't know if you can make it out. That's a tire there. This is a car. See, even it's not even a matter of being able to swim this. You couldn't. But even if you could swim this, you'd be hit with debris like freaking cars, pieces of houses, trees. If he steps out to that, he's a dead man. So China on highest flood alert as 38 million people evacuated. I think this is pretty much the same kind of stuff we were reading before, but this is from Shanghai, the Nikkei Asian Review. Despite reassurances by the government, residents along China's rivers are increasingly worried that the mitigation capabilities of the Three Gorges Dam might fail after heavy rains lashed parts of the country. Some 141 people are already missing or dead, and nearly 38 million people have been evacuated since alerts were triggered in June about the flooding of 433 rivers nationwide. The country's flood control authority said on Monday, President Xi Jinping is making the, quote, greatest effort in rescue and prevention directives, Xinhua State News Agency reported Sunday. Xi was particularly concerned that the Yangtze River and Poyang Lake, the country's longest river and biggest lake, had risen above warning levels. Authorities in Jiangxi, the province through which the Yangtze River flows and which is home to Poyang, raised its flood control response to level 1 on Sunday, the highest of a 4-level emergency response. So level 1 can't go any higher. Higher than level 1, you have a flood, a massive disaster. I mean, so that the area of Poyang has already been raised to level 1. And from the language that the Communist Party is now using, they've changed language from the dam cannot fail. The language they're using now is to paraphrase, you can't blame the dam did its best. The kind of stuff you tell a kid who just failed at something, So it sounds like they're trying to prepare the country with that shift in tone. Because remember, the Communist Party, they don't come right out and admit something. They just shift the language slightly, and you have to interpret the tea leaves. So they're already saying the dam has done its best, or you can't blame the dam for the current flooding that they're seeing. So what do we have here? The torrential rains that typically hit in July and August started in the middle of June this year. And the video clips of social media showed rivers overflowing and submerging homes. In one video posted by a resident in Wuhan on Friday on the Taotiao Jinri News app, Yangtze River water level reached 28.11 meters, well above the average, even though there had been no rain in the city in recent days. Wuhan is one of the cities in the Yangtze River basin south of the Three Gorges Dam. All right, so this essentially, apart from the quotes from Xi Jinping, that was basically what we read in that previous article by CNN. So here's the Taiwan news. You could guess they're watching this closely in Taiwan. Expert warns China's Three Gorges Dam in danger of collapse. Residents in lower reaches of Yangtze River should brace for evacuation, says Chinese hydrologist. Taipei, Taiwan news. As torrential rains in China continue to wreak havoc on more than 24 provinces, notable Chinese hydrologist Wang Weiliao, or Weiluo, has questioned the safety of the massive Three Gorges Dam, warning that it could collapse at any moment. In southern China, regional rainstorms and mudslides that began on June 1st have uprooted more than 7,300 houses and affected nearly 8 million people as of Monday, June 21st. This is a little bit older, this story. This is from June. Wang pointed out that the dam's design, construction, and quality inspection were all carried out by the same group of people, and that the project was finished too quickly. He said that even Chinese Vice Minister of Water Resources Yi Jiangchong confessed at a June 10th press conference that water levels of at least 148 rivers in the country have risen above warning thresholds. Wow. Which proves that the Three Gorges Dam has a limited effect on flood control. Rather than commenting on the validity of the images showing the dam's warping a year ago, Wang said a more serious concern is the cracks and substandard concrete discovered during its construction. He said a failure of the dam would have catastrophic consequences for individuals residing in the lower reaches of the Yangtze River and that they should prepare for evacuation as soon as possible. In his interview with Radio France Internationale, the Chinese water expert also criticized the Chinese government and state media for refusing to acknowledge the potential danger of the reservoir. He said that scientists who've spoken the truth have been criminalized by Beijing. This is starting to sound familiar, people, resulting in a society with no communication. Super chat from Honky Kong. Channel Chave. Weather has current vids of the flood. According to Chinese state-owned CNTV, water inside the Three Gorges Dam continues to accumulate and has risen 2 meters above its flood prevention level. Although the dam has been hailed by Beijing as one of the greatest engineering achievements in human history, its structural integrity continues to be questioned. I want to see these images that they are talking about that came out last year. Oh yeah, you can see that. I'll try to enlarge that for you guys. So here is the dam. Notice here, this is the dam, I guess, when it was straight. Here's the dam bowed in the middle by all that water. You can see that the dam here is bowing in places in the middle here, compared to this picture where it's straight. The Three Gorges Dam is the largest hydroelectric dam in the world, located on the Yangtze River in the Hubei province of China. This week, due to torrential rains, it is flooded and might collapse. If so, it could affect 400 million lives and destroy 60 nuclear power plants. Very comforting. But India has been watching this issue, and this guy, he's an Indian colonel, and I don't know if he's in the Indian Army or Air Force or something, and he's in charge of satellite imagery, and he's been posting these various satellite images. I guess India has their military satellites watching the Chinese dam, because they have, images. This image was taken in 2017. This is a historical image of the Three Gorges Dam. Here's Zongbao Island, which is an island that you can reach on the high side of the dam when the water's low. Here it's the road is submerged fully. And this was taken on October 27th, 2017. No water release indication. So here, when this island was submerged, when the water was so high that the Zongbao Island, the road to it, was fully submerged, back then they weren't releasing water. That's the significance of showing this old image in 2017. So let's move forward here. Three Gorges Dam yesterday. Now this was taken in June, on June 4th. Here's Zongbao Island. Again, this time the road was not submerged. and you could see the water release gates. They were not releasing water. This was at the beginning of June. Remember, the rain started in the beginning of June. Now here's June 24th. Zongbao Island has not been submerged yet, but they're releasing water, which indicates that that's when they started opening the dam. This was before the weather warning was issued. So this is before the last week of June. They started, looks like they were concerned, they opened some of the floodgates. Now finally, July 9th, 2020, Zongbao Island, not quite completely submerged, that road, but it looks like it's getting close to it. Every floodgate is open. Every floodgate is open on the Three Gorges Dam. The water release indication you can see all across there. They have every sluice open, and this is Zongbao Island. It's not quite as bad as the original when it was completely submerged, that road, and they weren't releasing. I guess they didn't have rain. This was October 27th, so the monsoon season would have been over. So that's why they weren't releasing. They weren't expecting more rain. Here, we have at least 2 months to go, if not more, on the monsoon season. They're like, oh my God, if we don't release this water, this dam is done. Think about that. They've only gotten this rain for a month. Could you imagine if they get 2 more months of rain at monsoon levels? There's no way. This thing is almost full. There's no way it's going to be able to hold back that water. It's almost full, and they've got the dam completely open. So you better believe that India is watching that dam. It's gotten so serious, guys. You know the little dams that I was talking about that are not the Three Gorges Dam, the little dams and dikes that they have out there that are plugging the elevations above and below these dams. When they're showing signs of failure, they're not just dumping dirt in there. They're dumping the entire dump truck in there. Take a look at this video. They're pushing dump trucks. They're not using the dump trucks to dump the dirt. They're pushing the dump trucks in with the dirt. I'm not making this up. Watch this. They're pushing. This is a dump truck full of dirt. They just push it in. Here's another one. This is a dump truck. These guys, they're just shoving the dump trucks in there. They forget the dirt. The Three Gorges. Now here's where stuff's getting a little scary, because this is reminding me of the Wuhan coronavirus crisis. Three Gorges Dam has become a no-flight zone recently due to heavy flooding and online discussions of structural issues. So the Chinese military, the Communist Party, is not allowing overflight of the Three Gorges Dam. It's being patrolled by the army, and aerial photography of the dam is prohibited. Let's see if this news story is worth getting into. Miles on the Three Gorges Dam. Chinese Communist Party ignores warning signs, even wants it to collapse. So here's the first situation where we have some of the conspiracy theories are starting to come out. Well, I don't want to just label them conspiracy theories. Speculation that some people speculate that this is on purpose by the Chinese Communist Party. So here's the first guy, this Miles Guo, and saying that it's possible they even want the Three Gorges Dam to collapse. I can't imagine that, but Three Gorges Dam, hydroelectric gravity dam, spans the Yangtze River, blah, blah, blah. Despite opposition from many domestic and international experts, the Chinese Communist Party still proceeded with the dam building without conducting a comprehensive evaluation. The project, here we go, who benefited? The project enriched the family of Li Peng, who was nicknamed the Butcher of Tiananmen Square because of his support for the killing of the pro-democracy students in 1989. His daughter had been the Tsarina of electricity for many years, reigning in China's electricity sector. So remember, they built this dam, somebody got rich off of it, and that was the family of Li Peng. Contrary to the Chinese Communist Party's promise, the dam does not bring down the electricity cost for the Chinese, but brings more earthquakes to the region instead. A study by the China Earthquake Administration, a government entity, registered 3,429 earthquakes around the reservoir between mid-2003 and the end of 2009. I don't know the validity of the science here. I'm just reading to you what they're reporting here, which is 30 times the frequency recorded during the pre-dam period. But the Chinese Communist Party regime has silenced domestic critics, which were treated like threats to national image and national security. Some ordinary citizens think of the dam like a sword hanging over their heads. A large earthquake and its potential consequences can devastate millions living in close proximity. According to the information collected by Miles Guo from the Chinese Communist Party insiders, it's just a matter of time for the Three Gorges Dam to collapse. Miles' friends from the Academy of Social Sciences confirmed that the surrounding geological and environmental changes all point to the imminent collapse of the dam. Some expert was willing to take his own life to convince the Chinese Communist Party leaders about the issue, but the kleptocrats kept ignoring the warnings. In some way, the Chinese Communist Party seems to be hoping for the disaster to happen, which would kill a quarter of the population in China. The Chinese Communist Party superstitiously believes that it could be saved by some mega disasters. While the commoners take all the pain, the Chinese Communist Party leaders will survive and thrive as they did during World War II. The Three Gorges Dam has become a no-flight zone recently due to heavy flooding and online discussion of structural issues. It's being patrolled by the army, and aerial photography of the dam is prohibited. Is the Three Gorges Dam a ticking time bomb? A documentary. So here's a 3D model of the dam, I guess. Don't know what use this is. They're just showing a 3D model of the dam. How long is this documentary? It's like 20. It's like 20 minutes. If you want to check it out, go to the search for Miles on Three Gorges Dam. CCP ignores warning signs. If you want to check out that 20-minute documentary. Record floods raise questions about China's Three Gorges Dam. I mean, this story more of the same. Chinese people filling sandbags. Like that's going to hold back a massive multi-story flood. Here we go again. This is what I was talking about. You have conspiracy theories now popping up, and this is popping up in India. Remember, India's like in a very high state of tension with China. They were literally on the verge of war over some disputed land border in Kashmir. Here we go. First the pandemic, now a flood. Wuhan residents locked down again. Flood alert level raised. Rains 43% higher than average. Met Department says it's the first step in a chain of disasters. China admits it discharged water to prevent the Three Gorges Dam from collapse. Another man-made crisis. Watch this report from this Indian news agency, and keep listen for how again these are people are speculating that China is doing this on purpose to cover up the Wuhan coronavirus origin. It's interesting stuff.
Dealing with a new crisis, floods. The streets of Wuhan are filled with waist-deep water. It's been pouring non-stop. Rains and conspiracy theories. The word on the street is that the flooding is not natural. Our next report tells you why.
January 2020. The ferocious coronavirus is spreading in Wuhan. The city is overwhelmed by an explosion of cases. An unprecedented lockdown is imposed. Wuhan's 11 million residents are ordered to stay at home. The Chinese regime begins an aggressive campaign to control all information. Armed policemen replace civilians on the streets. Journalists reporting from Ground Zero begin to disappear. And all lab samples of the coronavirus are destroyed. It has been 5 months, but the memories of the brutal lockdown are yet to fade. The city is still to get back on track, and it has been struck by another disaster. Torrential rains have unleashed their fury on Wuhan. It is pouring non-stop from dawn to dusk. Streets, shops, supermarkets have all been flooded. 8 lives have been lost. Rainstorm warnings have been issued for the next 31 days. And the 11 million residents of Wuhan have again been ordered to stay indoors. Questions are being raised about China's intentions to impose another lockdown. Has the flooding really been caused by extreme weather? Or is it an outcome of heavy discharge of water from reservoirs? The word on the street is that human lives are being sacrificed again for a cover-up. Because 358 kilometers from Wuhan, in China's Yiling district, the infamous Three Gorges Dam has been releasing floodwaters from its spillways. Chinese authorities say they are doing so because the dam is on the verge of collapse. But Chinese activists say the opening of the spillways is intentional. That Chinese authorities are deliberately flooding cities in the Hubei province. Because these floods threaten to wash whatever may have been left of the evidence against China. Evidence of how the Chinese regime facilitated this pandemic. The timing of the floods only makes suspicions grow. The World Health Organization team is scheduled to visit China next week. The delegation will investigate the origins of the coronavirus. It will probe how the virus jumped from animals to humans. But with Wuhan flooded and its residents locked in their homes, the visit may achieve little if it still happens. China is pulling all the stops to ensure that the investigation is compromised even before it begins. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Okay, so that's the take from that channel in India. You can't have the World Health Organization investigate if the entire region is under 2 fucking floors of water. I mean, come on. That's a wild. I don't know if I buy that one, but holy smokes, that'd be some way for Pooh Bear to avoid the investigation. Oh, yeah, just open those floodgates. Oh, okay, sorry, you can't investigate it. The whole area is under 2 stories of water. I'm sorry. The evidence is at the bottom of the new lake. So that's it for this NeoUnrealist. If you want to help the channel, do me a favor. Just hit like for this video. Leave a comment down below. Mash the subscribe button if you're not already subbed to the channel. Click on the notification bell beside it. You got to put it on the all setting to keep up with newer content. A lot of you have been saying that you think my channel's being shadow banned or these notifications are going out really late or not at all. That's all I could suggest to you to do for that. If you do want to contribute directly to the channel, you want to toss your hard-earned dollars to the tip jar, follow links in the description below to Patreon, Subscribe Star, or PayPal. Or if you watch this on BitChute when it uploads later, just click on the green tip pledge button on the BitChute video player. But most importantly, guys, thanks for watching.